I would like to take this quote from David. Application integration has always been a challenge, but as more applications move to cloud and SaaS, integration becomes even more critical. Every word of him is coming true in this decade. I understand the quality and testing is used interchangeably in the market, but it's a two different gamut of activities and the verticals on its own. That is why this API first economy is evolving and more organizations and businesses are adopting it. So the focus from the front end engineering to the API engineering is prevalent right now. Summarizes, okay, so this is a very controversial. I would agree and I would disagree at the same time. So if a developer develops his share of things and hands over someone to test, now my question is, how much am I equipped as a developer to understand this functionally, from the user experience, from all other aspects of quality?
Hello, everyone, once again. So, we will be starting the second talk for today, and we are really excited for it. So, the next talk is by Sowmya Sirdhamurthy. She is estate manager at Litho. She will be talking about ask, analyze, and apply testing and test practices for integration. And a little bit about Sowmya. Sowmya is a seasoned product quality leader currently working as engineering manager quality at Litho. She has 16 years of experience handling products right from inception to delivery. She has worked on diverse software solutions like ERP, SaaS, mobile apps, and web applications. And now I would like to call her up on the stage to take this talk, the second talk of today, on ask, analyze, and apply testing and test practices for integrations. So I would like our audience to clap, show a lot of clap emojis because I'm calling Sowmya up on the stage. Hi, Sowmya.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all. A pumped up weekend. Awesome. So, yeah. So, you talk about conflicts. All I can think of on a weekend morning after getting up late is cornflakes. So, if you hear me say cornflakes 100 times, just know I'm a little bit bookered and I need a little food. So, yeah, just bear with me there.
Yeah, it's okay. You can take over the stage now, Sowmya.
Cool. Okay, so it's my time. Hopefully, you're all pumped up. So, today I have a topic ask, analyze, apply. Let me do this a little stunt of sharing my screen. And there you go. Yes, I did it. Okay, cool. And today, welcome you all for Confex for my second session, Embracing the Future of Testing. Ask, analyze, why is this going all by itself? I'm so sorry. So ask, analyze, and apply. Today, I'm talking about integrations. Most of you may have this question, integration. Well, this doesn't sound too futuring for me. We have been doing this for decades together already, and many businesses have done integrations in the past. What is that we get to see very new in this talk? Well, when the test tribe, I got an opportunity to speak in test tribe. I gave it a lot of thought. Should I have to speak on metaverse, IoT, maybe crypto, whatnot, all jazzy things, or maybe ChatGPT, which is a hot topic. But then it occurred to me there is no point in me talking something way too in the future, which I'm not able to see today on my desk, and then see gradually how this is altering the entire business landscape and its impact on me as a quality engineer or the test engineer. So that brought me to this topic of integration. Now, that's the introduction. Before I move ahead, I would like to take this quote from David. Application integration has always been a challenge, but as more applications move to cloud and SaaS, integration becomes even more critical. Every word of him is coming true in this decade and the decades which is going to come in the future as well. So, a little bit about the history. A decade and a half or 2 decades ago, when I started everything in my career, I was told to develop everything from the scratch, right? Every text button, every text area, lines, coloring, branding, everything from the scratch. We used to do it and then deploy it as a UI or a backend, just to stamp that branding that we built everything in home and we can give a seamless user experience. But 2 decades ahead, you see, everything has changed. Businesses and organizations have started to realize if this is the way I choose to do my business, I will be doomed. Especially the large scale enterprises got a threat from smaller players like startups or the pre startups who are coming with more innovative solutions out there to the market, which was a greater threat to the large enterprises. So soon they realized if I have to make a feast and party, I have to let more cooks into my kitchen. And that's only possible that I can make more food, more party, more the merrier. So now, irrespective of the size of the organization, the type of the business or the domain, people have understood that we have to open up our applications to get integrated with others so that we can co-create and develop a better ecosystem, giving a seamless user experience for everybody out there, no matter which domain it is, be it oil and gas, banking, trading, retail, e-commerce. It can be any of these platforms or the domains. You can see a great change in this happening, and all this is fired up only through integrations. And the one thing that is driving all these forces is APIs. I'll come to that. Moving to the next. So I spoke quite a bit without even giving a little introduction, which Vanshika gave already. But my name is Sowmya, and I work as an engineering manager at Litho. And those are my social links. Feel free to connect with me. Have a word with me. I would love to connect with people. Leaving this with you, let me move on to the next slide. Oh, I've added a little drama with all these PPTs. I was a little excited about the weekend. So now, when we go ahead talking about integration, I want to discuss this at 3 levels. The first is the business level, the next is at the quality engineering level, and the next is the test engineering level. I understand the quality and testing is used interchangeably in the market, but it's two different gamut of activities and the verticals on its own. So test engineering is purely focused on the actions that we take to make the application stable, whereas a quality is everything around it. It may be process, people, the technology, why, how, every aspect of it is covered with a quality mindset. So usually when everybody they start their career as a test engineer, but slowly when they grow, the growth is towards becoming the idea of quality engineer and finally the engineering as domain as a whole. So it becomes important for me to address this at 3 layers. So let's take the first one, which is the business layer. So like I said, in the past, when it came to the integration, it was mostly inwards. So I have one module and my module had to work with one other module, and that module should work with some other ABC modules. The idea was to integrate internally, and all these collaborations and discussions were happening pretty much internally. And when we talk about integrations, mostly it was a game for large players. I have like an ERP application. I have a sales and distribution module. I want to integrate with warehouse management. And then I have a HCM module, which is human capital management, and I want to integrate with finance module. So there was module, and then integration of these modules to sell based on the requirement and the need. And mostly these were driven by in-home data centers. But as and when the cloud and the SaaS applications started to grow, the cloud engineering is taking the front seat right now, driving most businesses. Like you see, the COVID has given a good raise for digital transformations. Most brick and mortar companies are coming onto the cloud now. They are making this startup type of a culture, trying to set up their own business and gain this internet space. And they want to leverage each other's positives, join hands with them so that they can grow their business and they don't have to re-engineer everything from the scratch. There is no point in me re-engineering a wheel when somebody has already done a great job at it, invested time in it, has mastered the art, and then he's going ahead. I would rather join my hands with him and then grow together. People have understood there is a room for everybody in the kitchen and a seat at the table. So these integrations are driven when an application is now envisioned. There is always an API first approach being taken. So even when a product design or a system design is done, first we discuss about how these APIs can be modularized. Most likely you can see the microservice architecture being taken over by most system design and architecture designs, if you see, simply because it makes it more easy for organizations and businesses to shake hand and work. When this is the way applications or the businesses are being envisioned, Just imagine how it's going to affect me as a test engineer or a quality engineer in the long run. What are the impacts at various levels that can happen, be it the toolings, be it the techniques, be it the test approaches. All of this will be impacted at a greater extent if the business is changing its way of working spectrum. Now, the two main drivers in my case, which is about the integration, you may come across so many things today, like I said, metaverse, IoT, crypto, chat GPT, and any of those things. But most of those is again driven basically by this integration and the hero, the APIs. No discussion, no conferences, nothing goes complete without the mentioning of APIs. They are the front runners, they are the breadwinners for so many companies, for so many startups. That is why this API first economy is evolving and more organizations and businesses are adopting it. So the focus from the front end engineering to the API engineering is prevalent right now. And more businesses, especially banking, retail, e-commerce, oil and gas, and some of the healthcare, insurance, these are the domains who are highly impacted by this. The AI-driven low-code, no-code tools have a great impact on how the overall businesses is shape-shifting, simply because they are the drivers or the front runners for RPAs and hyper-automation. There was a time when everything has to be driven manually. Someone has to sit there, take applications, they have to upload applications, bifurcated selections, discussions, and then send mails or trigger notifications. Now everything is handled automatically in most of these educational institutions. The application is handled automatically, and then this is scraped through the details automatically. The filtering is done automatically based on some keywords and the rules that the business rules that the college has said. And how do you think all these are happening? These are happening simply because of the enablement of integrations of different business applications, which is mostly driven by the APIs. So I cannot stress enough the importance of APIs, and I'm taking this platform to bring this up. Say, if you're not into it, please get familiarized. Now, looking at the integration in the business landscape, there's a more of external collaboration that is required. Whether you are in the large organizations or in a startup, whether you're the only test engineer or there is a gamut of like scaled agile teams, like 10, 15 test engineers, everybody has a need to do this external collaboration, including the businesses, be it sales, marketing, product management, everybody, because we have to join hands to develop that one single product that we are envisioning to provide value to the customers. Co-creation is becoming a need. I cannot stress enough. So if you take 2 decades ago, there was always a huge discussion. I am from a product company. I want to join a product company because this is where all the innovation is happening. And then there was service company or the consulting companies whose job or who the way they were looked at is they maintain, implement, and maybe even customize these innovative products that the product companies do. But today, if you see, there is this line which is being erased already. There is no more a distinction between a product company and a service company or a consulting company. Every company, every organization are the front runners as an innovative company. I don't have to take name of a specific industry or the sector to tell you what is what type of a company, but those who are being recognized as a service-based company or a managed service partners have learned to be the front runners, to adopt the latest technology, bring in the innovation, have their own products, and join hands with the so-called product companies to co-create and build stuff together. So this thin line is being evading. But how is this going to affect in the long run is trust. Firstly, companies have learned to trust each other's applications in terms of data and security. This has given up a way for many startups to come. And whenever there is a new startups, there are some statistics. So in 2019, there were 3.5 million new applications created. In 2020, there was 4.5 million new applications created. So if this is the growth rate that is happening year on year because of this integration, just look at the amount of workforce and the skilled resources that is required in the industry. So this is where you have to see how it is percolating in different layers. If the business is shape shifting from envisioning themselves as innovators, integrations, co-creation. That means even today, I have an innovative idea. I can start one myself and integrate myself with a Google or Amazon or any other large enterprises. If I show them the value that my solution is going to add business value to them. And then I am creating a job. And that's why there's a higher increase or in the need of demand of skilled resources. If there is anybody out there saying testing is going to die, quality engineering is going to die, I think you should rub it in their face showing all these statistics. That's not going to happen. It is here to stay. But what is changing is the need of the skills. Is the demand is increasing. There was a time when you come out of engineering college, you know the basic concepts, it's enough. But now is the time that you know to know your basic concepts, you know how to apply it. You should be understanding a little bit of business sense and boardroom behaviors and all those things. You should already be refining these things before you get a job. So you see the skills demand is just being increasing exponentially year on year. And I think that's a fair ask because technology is also driving businesses crazily to different extremes. Now, this is the impact on the business layer. Now, seeing at the quality engineering layer, like I said, everything, including test engineering, how is this going to impact you? So people who are usually in the team lead position, manager position, engineering manager position, who deal with more collaboration, setting up the processes, building up techniques and drawing the fine line, saying what is good, what is not good, setting up the guardrails, they will be directly impacted because of these integrations and collaborations that's happening in the market. Like I said, first is quality engineering as a core, with the test engineering as a string which drives all of these things around it. I'm going in this concentric circles. This does not mean one is better than the other or one is superior than the other. The idea here is to tell you that what comes first for you to keep in mind when you're in these roles, and how what's the demand that can come your way, or what's the expectation you can see out there in the market when you go out for giving interviews. The first one is establishing a common vision. When you and me work in a same company, we have a common goals, common managers, maybe same CEO, same rules, everything is fine, and we share the culture. It's easier to establish a common vision. But me as a quality engineer or maybe an engineering manager have to establish the same vision and convince the other partner who's external to my organization, who don't share the same work culture, who don't share the same timeline or same vibe. Yet we both have to collaborate to drive the quality of the application we are trying to develop. That's a challenge. And how you drive it is something that becomes the baseline or the fundamental aspect of your career. Establishing a shared understanding. When you have an agile team or a scaled agile team with 4 to 5 scrum teams, establishing a shared understanding between them itself is so much of a problem. There's so much of a challenge. Some agree, some don't. Everybody have their own way of driving things. But now you see, if you have to drive the quality outside your organization, shake hands with them and say, boss, this is what we're going to do, and this is what defines quality for us and for our customers. And then he says, that's not for me. I don't have to bother, because for my customers, that's not something that's a quality. Then how are you establishing this shared understanding? There comes this challenge right in front of you. KPI and metrics. It's always easy when you have a homogeneous applications, how to set up a KPI, what metrics, what type of people you have, and how you want to draw the graph, all the aesthetics around it. And now you have to deal with the KPI metrics, which is internal to your organization, as well, which is external to your organization, because the application entirely is just not yours. You're also having external organization or the businesses whose tech stack can be different, whose process can be different, whose build tools can be different. Everything can be different. Yet you have to collaborate in a better way so that you drive this quality. So KPI metrics, which goes hands in hand with reporting and dashboarding. The last one is a matrix communication. So people in the senior roles, usually in a company, they are used to have a communication with their own vertical, or most probably alignment with the other business vertical, max to max. But now if you see, you have to be answerable as a quality engineer for your vertical, and then also have a cross communication and a matrix communication with this external organization, their manager, their VP, and their KPIs. It's going to be a complex set of activities. It's for sure that we can't keep everybody happy, but how you drive the quality, keeping these people in loop, with the shared understanding and common vision becomes the definition of your entire career, of you as a person. The next concentric layer comes the SLAs and MOUs. So most likely in the consulting businesses, people who are in the consulting businesses or in the service industry, they are used to this drawing up an SLA, which is service level agreement or memorandum of understanding and things like that. Now this is going to increase more. Or most likely, these were the documents which was established by salespeople or VPs or product teams. But now you see more and more quality people gaining a table at the seat. So if you're in an organization where you have to collaborate with an external service provider, again, I shouldn't be using that, with one other player in the market or external company, and you both plan to co-create. Now, what defines the quality for you should be part of your SLAs. You should be able to draw a MOU for all these things and then stick to it together while you're creating or cooking together in the same kitchen. So the knowledge of this becomes very important for you in the long run. Upgrades, migration, this is already a problem for us. Whenever if there are two teams working on two different programming languages and each of them want to update the libraries or DBs, we already start running around saying, okay, they're doing the upgrade. I think we have to stop developing in our thing. Now think of the entire business. It's an entire different organization. Now they are changing their legal policies, upgrading some DBs, and it may have an impact on your application. You have to plan for the timeline, the process, the techniques, and the risk analysis, which may goes into it. So you see, the game of a quality engineer is now going a top notch. It is no more homogeneous anymore. You have to think of 100 other parameters outside your organization, beyond your hands. Customer onboarding. When you have a new product or a new application and you have customers adopting, you help them to onboard into your application, right? But now you have external applications also part of your application. Onboarding them for the unknowns is a challenge for you. I know most of the quality engineers are not involved in the customer onboarding, but let me say most pre-startups and startup companies, when there's a one-man show or a one-woman show, you might have to do everything in that company. Large enterprises make up mostly 16 to 20% of the market. The rest 80% of the market is a small scale and a medium sized businesses. So you can see more when the more startups, more medium scale businesses are coming in, you will have to adopt all these things in your day-to-day feature if you're serious about driving the quality. The next is intercompany collaboration. I have been talking about that. Let me skip this again. The next one is templating. So this goes hand in hand with a shared understanding and establishing a common vision. When you have waters joining from different rivers, you kind of see a chaos at that point. So you have to settle down this chaos, and templating can help you do it. Just like API responses, you develop in any language you want. I develop in any language I want, but let's communicate with each other in the same language called JSON, right? So likewise, when you're doing a quality engineering, you may have your own KPI metrics, you may have your own goals to achieve, but when you also have to share that space with an external person who's joining hands to co-create, it's always easy to talk in the same language, and templates help you do it. So templating can be a race in the future, especially in the quality engineering domain. No matter whether it's a large enterprise or small enterprises, as long as you're driving these integrations, this becomes a part of your life. Coming to the last one, which we should not forget, everything about processes, releases, production maintenance, production issues. So this is pretty much settled in large enterprises because they have a separate team who can take care of production releases, the quality of releases, maintaining of these releases, and maintaining of these applications. Even if there are bugs, they have a separate team who can fix the first layer of bugs. Unless and until it turns into a feature, it does not percolate into a agile or a scrum team or a development team. But not every company have this luxury of setting up an entire different vertical to manage and maintain a production release. Most likely, even in my company, when we go in production and we have issues, it directly comes and trickles down to our Scrum team or our development team. We don't have a separate team who sits and maintains all these things. So you see, what goes around is going to come around, and every responsibility, everything about who's going to solve this bug, who's going to first debug this, how is this SLAs being set up, is get connected to your, the previous topic of SLAs and memorandum of understanding, where you got to be really serious about your role and have a clear vision. How can I set this up when my company is doing this integration with externals? So this is all about quality engineering and how it's going to impact your work on a day-to-day basis, what you can expect. The most important, which is the crux of everything, which is the test engineering. Let's dive a little deep into the test engineering and a quick look at the time. Okay, so I should make a run. So let me bring in all the things that a test engineering may be impacted. First is external communication. I wouldn't again drag it. You got to, every test engineer in the team will be entering into this vendor collaborations, test design discussions, blockers, enhancements, whatever is it. You got to have this communication with different culture, different time zone, different company, different goal, different vision. Yet you have to collaborate for a common application or a common goal, right? So this becomes, you can expect this coming to your desk slowly, peeking in. So constructive communication and the business mailing becomes a part of your life. This is something that you have to keep in mind, not worry about, but just keep in mind. New toolings you can expect, because the existing tools out there in the market were very good for the homogeneous applications. When everything was monolithic, when everything was in-house, the tools were very good, are very good even today. But if I have to talk about an RPA, in my case, at Litho, we use Zapier. Zapier is a middle layer platform which helps our application, Litho DAM, to get connected with any other application out there in the market, be it Outlook, Slack, or any of these. When I have this kind of a situation, I cannot use Cypress or Selenium. It's definitely not going to help me because I have to go across applications to do this. Now, there are automation toolings which have come into the market, which is purely OS based, which can communicate with seamlessly with any applications out there as long as it's part of your desktop. But they are very nascent, they're taking the baby steps. Having said that, we should never neglect the idea of how it can change things in the future. If worked really well, this can be a game changer. That's the beauty of AI driven low code, no code tools, which can help in these integration concepts and make things more stronger when it comes to test engineering and quality engineering. So be ready for the new toolings, new test approaches. I can't be applying the same approaches that I used to do from a homogeneous or a monolithic architecture or a system design, which was happening a decade ago. I have to come up with more creative things because I have to collaborate externally. One good example, if it is about microservices, contract testing, not many of us have still put our hands into contract testing. External UAT, crowd source testing. These are some of the new concepts that's emerging out there in the market, which is also giving a way for many freelance test engineers as well. Crowd testing is a very good one concept, which is pumping up more freelance and consulting testing, software testing. Sorry. Consulting and software testing aspects of this applications development. So crowd testing is one thing that you can see more and more that is happening. Performance, like I said, when everything is in-house, doing performance is easy, but when you have to go beyond your application and to do your performance, how do you manage the large amount of test data? How are you passing these requests? Should you have to do through UI layer or you have to drive in through the API layer? All these kind of questions slowly percolates to your desk. There is no more a separate team who will sit and do performance testing for you. It is now becoming a part of a Scrum team's job, a test engineer's job to do performance testing. And this pressure is simply going to increase. This is where the need of higher skills and better skills out there in the market, and the demand is going to grow, including the security tests, knowing of the OWASP rules. When you are using data between two organizations, how securely you can communicate, the GDPR rules when it comes to EU, or maybe there are some other relevant data privacy rules applying for US markets. It can be many aspects that you may have to be aware of. So as a test engineer, there is a challenge that you have to pick up these details as well. Hybrid UI. There was a time when all the entire element of the UI was from my own company or from your own company. But now you see, and also the technologies are different. A part of the UI is in AngularJS. A part of the UI is in React.js. Some other part of the UI is in a Vue.js. or something else can come and they collaborate. These components have to collaborate. Most likely you get to see this in insurance domain, trading domain right now as we speak, in banking domain. They have already made their way of how these UIs are framed right now. It's no more a single player, single technology. It's all mix and match. One good example, which I kind of forgot, I guess. It's about the app. Let me remember. If I remember, I'll let you know. So it's one of the mobile apps. It's a new concepts coming in out there in the market where multiple applications, multiple mobile apps are given single platform. And it can be of any programming language, any technology, yet they're given a platform to communicate with each other, like a one-stop solution. Data governance and legal compliance, I cannot stress enough, as much as APIs are important, data governance and legal compliance understanding for a test engineer is very important. You are working with an external organization, you're working with external toolings, getting integrated. As much as your data is important, so is the legal compliance. So there was a team, an outside consulting team. Their job was to come and scrape through the application to see whether we are legally compliant or not, are we doing right or not. But now that role is fading away because that is coming onto the shoulders of test engineers. The future you can see the performance, security testing, testing of this hybrid UI, legal compliance and data governance, all these becomes a part of your day-to-day life. This is where the need of higher skills is coming into the picture. It's no more just I know test automation, I am very excellent tester. It's not going to help. These skills, you got to have it. And the last one, the hero, wherever I go, I mention is API. They are the catalysts, they are the building blocks. This is where you start if you're not already into. Bring your focus from the front end to the business layers towards APIs. Gain a good understanding. This is going to drive all the innovations that you're going to talk about today: metaverse, IoT, crypto, chat, GPT, whatever it is. No show goes without APIs, and they are the game changers. So these are the ways where a test engineering is impacted. So having said that, just to summarize, today we discuss about 3 different layers, about integrations and how it's going to impact you at what layers and how you should be ready, what you can expect. So business landscape, quality engineering, and test engineering. 20 minutes is too less for me to dive deep. I hopefully have given you good pointers to go back, sleep over it, gain good understanding, and start looking towards it, how the market is changing in this aspect. So coming to my last slide, if you have any questions, please fire them away.
Hi, Sowmya. It was a great session. Really loved it. The way you explained it in like 3 points and everything, it was amazing. So we have less time left, so we'll take 2 questions, the most upvoted ones. The first question is from Sheme Paramir. Someone just saying that a developer is quite enough to do testing the application, which is developed by another developer. Do you agree with this?
Summarizes. Okay, so this is a very controversial. I would agree and I would disagree at the same time. So if a developer develops his share of things and hands over someone to test, now my question is, how much am I equipped as a developer to understand this functionally, from the user experience, from all other aspects of quality? I'm like really so good to handle all these things. Then I have no problem. But most likely 99.9% of the cases, that is not the thing, because we are brought in as an experts. When I'm a developer, I'm an expert to stitch things together, to code and put things into implementation. And when I bring test engineer, he's an expert in the field to look at the places and have that gut feeling of the places where it can fail, not just technically, but also in a personal human relationship. Let me tell you, when I was working with a person called, some X, and when the code was coming for testing, I had this gut feeling, for sure this is going to fail here. I am pretty sure they would have missed. See, that is that human relationship that has set up with that developer, that I have understood him so well that I know where this application is failing. So there are so many layers which one person cannot invest time. So if you say me that developer is going to invest so much time to test that simple feature that has come for testing, I will take it. But like I said, 99.999, it's not possible. So he would have gone crazy.
Understood. We'll take one last question from Mayan. What is the open source, no code, low tool which can be used?
Look, if I name one thing, then it becomes an advertising for those tools. But let me tell you a few tools that I have tried. Of course, I tried AxleQ. I am trying and helping teams adopt Postman, which is a low-code new feature that they have come for the API testing, especially for the test engineers who have come from different backgrounds, non-engineering backgrounds, so who are not from the STEM background. Then for them, I'm using Postman to do API testing for their flows. I've also seen few other tools like AskQI, but yeah, I do not want to name one. You can explore.
So thank you so much, Sowmya. Your energy throughout the session and the way you explained everything, it was great, really great. So thank you so much for joining us and see you in the next session. Bye.
Have a nice weekend, folks. Bye.